Magkaisa tayong lahat, Bunyog, party list na karapat-dapat ating itaguyod. Pagdating ng halalan, 145 sa balota ang ating botohan. Bunyog, Bunyog, halikan na't sumama na. Bunyog, ito ang ating pag-asa. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, 145 ang sigaw. Baguhin ng Pilipinas ang bunyog, ang ihalal. Bunyog, bunyog, bunyog.
Father Percy Bacani of the Missionaries of Jesus will lead the opening prayer. Father Percy? Okay, so, kumusta po mga kabayan? Tuloy na po ang launching ng ating solid Leni-Kiko Global. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. Ngayon, ako po si Chris Godinez. Papakilala lang po muna ako. Chris Godinez, U.S. Immigration Attorney based in New York City. Member po ako ng Women Lawyers for Leni and serving our Filipino community as an immigrant rights advocate for the past 20 years. So, tulad ng mahigit na 10 milyong overseas Filipinos, umaasa at naniniwala pa rin po ako na kaya nating iluklok ang isang tapat at masipag na liderato kahit nasa malayo tayo. Tulad ninyo, ayaw ko rin po mauwi sa walang hirap at pagod ng ating overseas Filipino workers na sumusuporta sa mga mahal nila sa buhay sa Pilipinas. At tulad ninyo, sabik din po akong makasama mamaya si Vice Presidente Leni. So, ano ba itong solid Leni-Kiko Global? Kahit na po kalat-kalat ang mga Pilipino sa buong mundo, mahigit 200 countries and territories po ang may presence ang Filipinos, we always find a way to find common cause and to come together. At ito po ang produkto, ang solid Leni-Kiko Global Organization is the product of that coming together. It is the result of Filipinos all over the world making a commitment to contribute whatever they can to support the only candidates who have a track record of pro-people, transparent, and accountable public service. Ito ang hain ng ating candidate for President, Leni Robredo, candidate for Vice President, Kiko Pangilinan, and their full slate of 12 senatorial candidates. So SLKG is a fast-expanding team of more than 100 seasoned organizers, professionals, academics, specialists, working in NGOs and labor unions, mga OFW groups po sa buong mundo. So handa po tayo. We are ready to harness intellectual, material, and financial resources worldwide to support progressive leaders and genuine public servants like Vice President Leni. So nakakasana po tayo. Visit na lang po natin ang Facebook page ng Solid Leni-Kiko Global to know more and find out how you can support the Leni-Kiko candidacy for good governance. So we are also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Please check out our pages. And before we proceed to the main program, a few reminders for housekeeping. This event is being recorded and is streamed live on Facebook right now. Mics will be muted until you are called upon to speak. Cameras will be on when you speak and you will be registered as a panelist. But we're streaming, everybody can watch us on Facebook Live. So, let's welcome our first speaker. Si Cesar Bellangel is here to talk about the platform of presidential candidate Leni Robredo. Cesar has been doing development work in various capacities, and he is program manager at the Asian Partnership for Development of Human Resources. Please welcome Cesar Bellangel of Solid Leni Pilipinas.
Maraming salamat po. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to share with you the fundamental elements of BP Leni's platform of governance in her presidency based on the official pronouncements, press releases, and discussions in the latest presidential debates. No? But I will focus more on the most important planned platforms. No? Okay, let us proceed. Next slide, please. The first general framework of BP Leni's governance is transparency, accountability, and participatory governance. No? Ito yung pinaka gustong-gusto ko. No? This is all about cleaning up the bureaucracy, setting up platforms to ensure that good governance is in place. Kaya nga ang kanyang campaign slogan ay gobyernong tapat, angat buhay lahat. No? Now, Robredo vowed to form a government that is led by example. Pinapakita na po ito ni BP Leni ngayon pa lang. Espousing honesty in government, competence, accountability, and transparency. She promised to go after abusive and corrupt officials. And she vowed to implement a full disclosure policy of all government transactions. No? Next slide, please. The second important platform is to address the pandemic. Alam naman po natin na napaka-importante ito because this is a necessity in solving all other issues in the country. No? Including in this is the alignment of national budget to empower healthcare system, improving access to hospitals, building additional health facilities, caring for our medical frontliners, strengthening the logistical support and system to access and finish vaccination, installing more efficient testing and tracing system. No? Okay, next please. Another important platform of BP Leni is to revitalize the economy. Lagmok na lagpok po ang ating ekonomiya, most of them dahil sa pandemic. Top among the objective is to revitalize the economy by creating more jobs and livelihood opportunities. Through regaining the trust to government to invite more investment, reviving Filipino industries, including maritime. She mentioned maritime and shipbuilding, ending discrimination at work, supporting small and medium enterprises. Robredo shall push for a public employment program targeting about 1.8 unemployed Filipino people. And she vowed to implement insurance for unemployed. Robredo said that her administration will give attention in improving the rural areas to improve the farmers and fishers' income in the productivity, engage them in value chain, and link them with market. No? She said that she will promote government procurement from farmers and fishers on basic food items needed by government program. Okay, so that is the importance of revitalizing the economy. No? The next is education. This is very important. Next slide. In education, BP Leni intends to increase education spending from the 3%, current 3% of gross domestic product to 6% as recommended by the United Nations. She said that her administration will roll out a national assessment program that will diagnose the missed learning of students due to the pandemic and will guide a remediation program to help in addressing learning losses. No? Dahil hindi po face-to-face, marami pong setback sa learning process ng ating mga estudyante. Next, please. And the next is foreign policy and the West Philippine Sea. So this is one of the most controversial and most important issues nowadays. Robredo said foreign policy will always put the interests of our country and our people first. He will make sure that our relationship with China and other countries will be based on mutual trust and respect and recognition of international laws. When it comes to potential joint exploration with China, in the West Philippine Sea, she said any deal with any country must be premised on the recognition of the Philippine arbitral win at the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Okay, so these are the 5 most important platforms that I think, from the point of view of the marginal basic sectors and the civil society organization, where I belong, are the most important. No? So thank you very much for allowing me to share VP Leni's platform of governance. I am very sure that this will help our country in the future. Thank you.
Salamat, Cesar Bellangel, for showing us what Vice President Leni has planned for us. Our next speaker is Milton Maristella, a registered nurse based in Los Angeles, representing the Filipino American Health Workers Association. He is an organizer for the largest nurse union in California. Milton Maristella, please join us.
Mute me. Hello, everyone. Good evening to my sisters and brothers in nursing from Tokyo, Philippines to Europe and here in USA. Thank you for this platform, VP Leni Robredo and Senator Kiko Pangilinan, for giving us your listening ear and attention to share with you our vision and passion to serve and care for humanity. I have to wear pink. I'm Milton Maristella, and I speak on behalf of the Filipino American Health Workers Association, or FAWA in short. I'm a registered nurse and also a union leader here in Los Angeles at a local hospital. I migrated to the United States not only because of the family, but because of a lack of job opportunities in the Philippines. Ever since 1979, prior to my graduation, I often heard my seniors saying we must go abroad because there's nothing for us nurses to make a decent living wage in this country. So here we are. FAWA has a strong links with healthcare workers in the Philippines, particularly the Filipino Nurses United and the Alliances of Healthcare Workers. Our issues and struggles are similar here in the USA and in the Philippines. One, we believe that healthcare is a human right and must be guaranteed for all. Mahirap man o mayaman, may trabaho man o wala, bata man o matanda, dapat ipagkaloob ng pamahalaan na libre ang ospitalisasyon, ang gamot, ang konsulta sa mga espesyalista ng pangkaraniwang problema sa kalusugan. We are one in the fight for patient safety by strict observance of nurse-to-patient ratio. Here in California particularly, we have, for example, in an ICU, 1 nurse to 2 patients, or sometimes 1 nurse to 1 patient. Number 3, we are one in our struggles to have a voice within, at work, regarding our practice, the right to organize a union, and collectively negotiate a fair contract for a better wage and better working condition. It was appalling to hear that there was a law in the Philippines that allowed pay raises to nurses, but was not implemented. For several years, only after the Filipino Nurses United and the Alliance of Health Workers collectively protested and visited their respective legislators. The question here is, why is this happening? Is it because our government doesn't care for the interests of nurses and health workers? Is it that our government is influenced by the oligarchs and the billionaires? Is it because the private sector hospital administrators only care for their self-interests? We have that here in the US, but it is worse over there in the Philippines. We also have COVID here in the US, but it is worse over there in the Philippines. We need to change, and we need to change it now. We're hoping through your leadership and care that this change will slowly take effect. We understand that it is a process. There is hope, and you Leni Robredo, and Kiko Pangilinan has become a source of our hope. The hope is strong and alive because there is growing a movement in the Philippines now. There is a movement that will guarantee health care for all, that will defeat human rights violators and perpetrators of extrajudicial killings. There is a movement that defends the rights of workers, nurses, and other professionals, men, women, LGBTQ, fishermen, and farmers. There is a movement that can lift our lives all together. Angat buhay para sa lahat. It all begins with love. Mabuhay ang sambayan ng Pilipino sa buong mundo. Salamat po. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you. And wish us luck in our endeavor.
Thank you, Milton. I'd just like to announce that we have a lot of participants from all over the world. Kingston, Kuwait, Jeddah. We have people from Sydney tuning in, Dallas, Bonggao, Tawi-Tawi, Indonesia, Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. Welcome po sa inyo. Our third speaker is Melba Marginson, coming to us from May Pag-asa Network from Melbourne, Australia. She established May Pag-asa Network to bring together Filipino Australians who want to know more about Philippine issues. She was named one of 100 Australian Women of Influence in 2014. Please welcome our kakamping in Australia, Melba Marginson. Melba? Hello, Melba.
She in?
Unmute me. Okay.
Oh,
I was muted. Magandang umaga po. Magandang hapon at gabi sa lahat ng mga narito ngayon at lalong-lalo na kay VP Leni Robredo. I am truly honored to speak today about the unique situation of Australian Filipinos, which may give Leni a better picture of Filipinos living overseas. In Australia, Filipinos are the 5th largest migrant community. Filipinos who live here fall under 2 categories. Permanent residents who are either Australian citizens or dual citizens, and temporary visa holders who may be international students, special visa holders, tourists, or workers, guest workers. There are at least 310,000 permanent residents as of April 2021. Around 100,000 plus are temporary visa holders. Filipino Australians, as we call ourselves, are therefore often torn between our Filipino and Australian identities. Our younger generation tends to be more Australian and may only start connecting to anything Filipino when they become adults. However, older Filipino Australians who migrated to Australia as first-generation Pinoys do not usually lose connection with the Philippines. At kami yon. Kami pa rin yung nagpapadala ng pera at door-to-door goods sa aming mga kamag-anak sa Pinas, even if we have to work on 3 jobs. Kami rin ang nag-ugat na sa Australian society, nagkatrabaho at nag-retire. Many of us have brought up big families, engaged with Australian institutions, and in the process, humarap sa mga isyong tulad ng racism, sexual harassment, family violence, trafficking, low pay, wage theft, lack of Australian recognition of Filipino overseas qualifications, at iba pa na may kinalaman sa aming pagiging minority sa isang bansang dominant ang mga puti. Ipinagmamalaki namin na ang Australia ay isang multicultural nation, pero sa papel lang po iyan. Marami pa kaming ipaglalaban upang makamit ang tunay na equality at human rights sa bansang Australia. On top of this, we observe that our Australian government does not value and respect the Philippines in the same way that it values other Asian countries like India, Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand. The fact that our current president is Rodrigo Duterte does not help at all to gain respect from Australia and other countries. Kaya kami po ay lubos na umaasa na kayo, VP Leni, si Kiko at mga progresibong senador ang mananalo sa darating na eleksyon. We are doing our best here in Australia to convince registered Philippine voters to vote for Leni-Kiko team. There are many Filipino Australians who came out of the woods and began joining our chat groups and activities. We have been witnessing worldwide this huge wave of enthusiasm amongst Filipinos who 6 months ago were on the brink of despair and hopelessness. As Filipino Australians, I want to tell you, VP Leni, our collective wishes. We want the world to respect our country. We want a Philippine government that has an independent foreign policy. We want to see a Philippine government that has a strong political, economic, and social partnership with Australia. We want a Philippine government that has integrity. We want a Philippine government that respects human rights and will also uphold the human rights of Filipinos working and living overseas, be they permanent residents or on temporary visas. Under your presidency, VP Leni Robredo, the Philippines could become the envy of other nations, including Australia, which we now call home. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Melba. Our next speaker is from Malaysia. Si Liesel Galdo po is a coordinator of the Asosasyon ng mga Makabayang Manggagawang Pilipino overseas. Liesel has worked as a domestic worker in Kuwait for 6 years and in Taiwan for 2 years before she moved to Malaysia for 10 years ago. Liesel Galdo is here to talk about what overseas Filipinos have been doing and what they can do. Liesel Galdo, please join us.
Okay, magandang hapon po, magandang umaga at magandang tanghali. Saan mang dako tayo sa mundo. Dito po sa Malaysia, we continue bring the Leni-Kiko tandem sa aming pag-oorganisa. Kasi po, nag-oorganisa kami ng mga migrant domestic workers at nagtuturo din sa aming mga karapatan dito, lalong-lalo na dito sa Malaysia ay hindi po kami kinikilala na domestic workers. Bagkos sa kanilang Employment Act, kami ay mga domestic servant. Parang panahon pa po ni Cleopatra na kami ay mga servant. So, ibig sabihin, hindi po kami kasali sa kung ano man ang mga benepisyo or yung mga holidays, hindi po kami kasali dyan. Kaya patuloy po kaming nag-oorganisa at nagtuturo sa ating mga kapwa domestic workers dahil marami pong mga na-violate ang kanilang mga karapatan. Ako po si Liesel Galdo, isang leader ng asosasyon ng mga makabayang manggagawa ng mga Filipino overseas dito sa Malaysia. At ang aming pong organisasyon ay affiliate sa International Domestic Workers Federation, the only global federation of domestic workers. At syempre, affiliate din po kami sa sentro ng mga nagkakaisa at progresibong manggagawa sa Pilipinas. I've been an OFW for 18 years. First yung nga sa Taiwan, 2 taon po ako doon. At 6 na taon sa Kuwait. Tapos dito ay magsa-10 taon, 10 taon na rin po ngayong February. Kumbaga 18 years is really a long years at gustong-gusto ko na nga po sanang umuwi sa atin. Pero sa kadahilan ng hanggang ngayon, wala pa rin maayos na trabaho. Kaya inaasahan po namin talaga, VP Leni, na sana pag kayo po ay talagang nanalo at kiniklaim na nga po namin ngayon na kayo na po yung presidente. Sana magkaroon tayo ng maayos na trabaho, lalo na sa mga OFW kasi dito ang dami na nga pong tumatanda na kamakailan lang may mga tinutulungan kami na more than 70 years old nagtatrabaho pa rin pero dahil mahinang-mahina na at hindi na ma-renew ang kanilang mga visa kasi hindi na sila pumapasa sa medical, ano. Talagang namomroblema sila na pagdating nila, ano kaya ang mangyayari? Kaya sana po ay magiging maayos na ang ang trabaho sa atin para po kami ay makauwi na. Sana po talaga angat buhay lahat para sa ating lahat ng mga Pilipino. Yun lang po at maraming salamat.
Salamat, Lisel Galdo. At shout out lang muna po sa ilang mga kasama natin na nasa chat ngayon. Meron tayong mga kasama from Manitoba, Canada, Zurich, Pasig, sa British Columbia, the United Arab Emirates, meron tayong mga representatives doon. Nako, lahat yata talaga ng sulok ng mundo may Pilipino. So, I would like to remind everybody that you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Nandun po yung mga detalye tungkol sa Solid Leni-Kiko Global. So you can also find out how you can support the movement for good governance. Our next speaker is representing Solid Leni overseas. She's been based in the Seattle area for 30 years now. Isabel De La Torre has led 4 international nonprofit organizations working on environmental justice, indigenous peoples, coastal management, women issues. She completed her law degree and her journalism degree at the University of the Philippines. Isabel De La Torre grew up in Naga City, where she and candidate for president Leni Robredo were actually in the same class from when they were 6 years old and all the way through high school. So Isabel is here to share with us information about the Solid Leni-Kiko Leni Overseas group. Isabel, are you in? Hi, Bem. Unmute. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Chris, for the introduction. Magandang araw, magandang gabi ho sa inyong lahat. Congratulations to Solid Leni-Kiko Global for this very exciting launch. I'm here to talk about Solid Leni Overseas. More importantly, actually, I'm here to talk about how we together can make history by fighting smart and how we can outmatch the Marcos machinery. We have only 81 days to stop the horrific past from taking over our future. We have 81 days to turn our country's path into decency instead of decay, to economic growth instead of unchecked plunder. Let's fight smart now. Wherever you are, let's turn 10 undecided or BBM voters for Leni and the slate. Those who are on the ground need your support. We are in daily contact with them. Let's join forces. Let's work together. I'm working with the Solid Leni Pilipinas. We get direct instructions from VP Leni's campaign team. We need more help and support. So with your help, we are forming the Solid Leni Overseas. We need to work together now. If you want to reach out to undecided voters, come work with us. The other side is well-oiled and well-funded. We may not be able to match their plundered funds, but we can outmatch them by working smart. We can do this with your support. Please join us. Look us up on Facebook. Welcome to Making History. Welcome to organized work wherever you are. We welcome you to Solid Leni Overseas. Thank you.
Isabel, I understand that you will be introducing somebody we're so eager to meet. So please go ahead without further
you.
ado.
Yeah. Well, in introducing my classmate, schoolmate, and friend, I have to recognize by your energy and enthusiasm that you have been following her all these years. You know now her mettle as a leader. You have seen her incorruptibility, decency, and dedication as a public figure. Having known her from when we were kids in Naga City all the way through the University of the Philippines, I can say that the traits that have won you over are genuine, deeper, and stronger in person. Calm, resolute, indomitable, humble, a very strong moral compass. Friends, let us celebrate our common fight for decency, democracy, and a thriving country by welcoming our candidate for president, Leonor Herona Robredo. Thank you.
Yay! That's my
Welcome.
cousin.
Yay.
We're waiting. We're okay. We're waiting for VP Leni. I think she's on her way.
Here. She's here na po.
Okay. Excited na po kami. Lalo talagang na-excite. VP Leni. Right, so
Leni.
Leni, Leni, Leni,
Lenny,
Leni.
welcome, Lenny.
Where are you? Ay, nako. She'll be here.
oh, the whole world is waiting. But we don't mind waiting because we
I
know
don't mind
it's worth the
waiting.
wait. She's worth the wait.
Christina, Leni is my cousin
Good for
on the
you.
Herona side. And
That's
it's
great.
she doesn't know that, but now I hope.
She will know. So you're Bicolano pala.
Bicolano ka rin, Mildon. Oh.
Yes, Bicolano. Iyo na nga ni.
Ah,
Taga Masbate po.
There you go. Okay, so any update from our tech people on where VP Leni is?
Just imagine the traffic in Manila.
Yun na nga, baka yun na nga yung ano, yun na siguro ang nakakapag pigil sa kanya. Ben, baka Isabel, you might be able to share a story, a quick story while we're waiting for VP Leni to join
Sure.
us. Or something from when you were 6 years old that you want to share.
Yeah, well, I was thinking earlier because I wanted my introduction to be short because she deserves all the attention, right? But one reflection from
Lenny
her
Robredo is in.
is she's
Oh.
in.
There you go.
Yes, she's
Ayaw niya ipakwento, Isabel. Ayaw niya
Okay.
ipakwento.
Oh!
Basahin nyo na lang sa Inquirer.
Okay, let's welcome Vice President Leni Robredo, ang kandidato po natin for President, Leni Robredo.
Yay! Leni! Woohoo! Come on, Mama.
Kakataon pa ba?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
yay!
Madam Vice
Hi.
President, welcome to.
Maraming salamat. So good to see everyone. Bem, hi, Bem.
Hi, good to see you.
Sorry ha, I'm still adjusting my... Okay, I'm done.
Okay, Vice President Leni Robredo, we're here.
Is it my turn?
Yes, of course.
Sorry. Hello everyone. Hello po sa lahat na kasama natin ngayon dito sa Solid Leni-Kiko Global Virtual Launch. Nahihiya ako sa inyo kasi alam ko na for many of you, unholy hour na to. Iba-ibang ating mga time zones. At yung iba talaga nakikipagpuyatan sa atin ngayon kaysa magpahinga. Kaya maraming salamat sa suporta at pagsama pa rin dito sa ating virtual get-together. Alam kong hindi naging madali itong nagdaang 2 taon, halos 2 taon. Marami sa inyo ginusto siguro makauwi pero hindi makapasok sa bansa because of the protocols. May mga nalagay din sa alanganin ang mga kontrata. Lahat nag-alala sa kaligtasan ng mga mahal sa buhay dito sa Pilipinas. Yung lalo pang pinalalim yung mga sakripisyong pinagdaraanan ng mga, lalo na yung mga OFWs natin. At sa pagkikipag-usap namin sa maraming representatives ng inyong sektor, naging malinaw naman yung sentiments. Na kung may choice ang Pilipino, kung pwede lang sana siyang hindi na umalis para magkaroon ng mas may dignidad na trabaho, mas pipiliin ng karamihan na manatili dito sa atin, na hindi iniiwan yung mga mahal sa buhay. Ako, naniniwala naman ako, kayang maabot ang pangarap na to. Mahusay naman ng mga Pilipino. At kung tapat ang gobyerno, lalago ang ating ekonomiya, malilikha dito ang maaayos na trabaho at matutumbasan ng tamang sahod at benepisyo ang husay ng Pilipino. Lagi ko na din, hindi ko alam kung napanood nyo na ito in some of my interviews, lagi ko naman itong inuulit na sana yung pangingibang bansa is by choice, not by necessity. Hindi yung kaya ka mangingibang bansa kasi wala ka ng opportunities dito. Sana nangingibang bansa ka kasi yun talaga yung gusto mong daan na tahakin. So, paano natin ito magagawa? Unang-una, kailangan nating ayusin yung ating economy para mas maraming opportunities sa trabaho. At mapapagkatiwala ang pamamahala, mabibilis na proseso, mga proyekto at kontratang nababantayan laban sa corruption. Mula dito, papasok ang investments, dadami ang trabaho, at kung matututukan ng mga key industries, aangat ang pasahod para tumumbas ito sa talino ng Pilipino. Yung second nito, yung mga benefits dapat na nakukuha nyo dyan sa mga bansang pinagtatrabahuhan ninyo, kailangan na o-offer din natin dito. Halimbawa na lang, yung PhilHealth. Kailangan bumuo tayo ng sistema para sa mga overseas Filipinos at OFWs na meron ng health coverage sa ibang bansa para hindi nyo na kailangan magbayad ng mga contributions dito. Siguro ang kondisyon lang dapat nito, dapat may PhilHealth ang mga na pamilya dito sa Pilipinas para magkaroon sila ng access sa universal healthcare system natin. Tapos yung pangatlo, para sa talagang pipiliing mangibang bansa, sisiguraduhin natin protektado at may matibay na support system ang OFWs. Papasok tayo sa mas maraming bilateral labor agreements. Actually, bago ako nag-online, titingnan ko yung mga existing na bilateral agreements natin. Kulang pa siya. Bilateral agreements sa ibang mga bansa na grabe yung concentration ng mga Filipino workers doon. So yun yung i-endeavor natin gawin para sigurado na poprotektahan yung mga kababayan natin. Sisiguraduhin din natin na naipapatupad ng maayos yung mga existing na mga bilateral agreements, lalo na nga sa mga bansa sa example Middle East o some parts of Asia na maraming OFWs. Para siguraduhin na napoprotektahan natin at naisusulong yung mga karapatan ninyo. Magiging strategic din tayo, karamihan sa mga OFW cases ay contract violations, lalo na sa Middle East. Kaya ipaprioritize natin ang mga bilateral agreements sa mga bansa sa rehiyon, gaya na sabi ko kanina, Tututukan natin yung mga bansang maraming kaso sa pang-aabuso ng mga OFWs. At makikipag-ugnayan tayo sa gobyerno ng mga bansang ito para igiit ang karapatan at dignidad ng mga kababayan natin. Na kung hindi sila willing pumasok sa mga bilateral agreements, baka mas mabuti na i-review natin kung magpapadala pa ba tayo. Magpapadala pa ba tayo ng mga workers sa bansa nila, considering na hindi natin sila kayang protektahan. Ay, yung pang-apat, kailangan din natin masiguro na kapag pinili niyong umuwi muli dito sa Pilipinas, may assurance na meron kayong equal if not better chances of success. Marami na din akong nakausap ng mga Pilipino na nagtrabaho sa labas na gusto nang umuwi. Pero yung isang nakakapagpigil sa kanila na hindi sila umuwi kasi halimbawa yung healthcare system, ay yung mga benefits na na-enjoy nila dyan, hindi nila ma-enjoy dito. So kahit gusto na nilang bumalik, they choose to stay. They choose to stay in the host countries kasi doon mas assured yung mga benepisyo. So kailangan pagtrabahuhan natin yun. Paano natin pagtatrabahuhan? Ay, yung isa doon, kailangan tayong bumuo ng interagency task force, reintegration, na ito yung tutugon sa iba't ibang uri ng pagbabalik ng mga overseas Filipino workers. Yung bumabalik because of a crisis, yung bumabalik temporarily, o nakaplano na talagang pagbalik. Kailangan magkaroon tayo ng coordinated na step ladder reintegration preparedness training program base sa existing na best practices. Kasi meron namang mga best practices na. Lilikha din tayo ng OFW Reintegration Pension Fund at ng mga reintegration pathway na magbibigay ng opportunities na makapag-skills training ang mga returning OFW para matulungan sila makahanap ng trabaho dito. Kasi minsan din, talagang gusto nang umuwi kasi gusto na nila makasama yung mga anak nila, hindi makauwi dahil wala sila ng necessary skills para makapasok sa mga specialized na mga trabaho na available naman dito sa atin. Kailangan din tayo magtayo, ito ilang beses ko na din ito nasabi in many of our meetings, ng one-stop migration resource center sa mga key provinces, cities, and municipalities. Dahil itong one-stop migration resource center, ito yung lalabas na para magiging hub siya. Not just in ensuring na may connection yung mga families left behind sa OFW, pero in making sure na pati yung mga families left behind na tutulungan hindi lang to cope with the social costs, pero natutulungan sa financial preparation, maraming mga bagay. Meron dito sa Naga. So it can be very easily replicable in many other places. Yung panlima, gagawin nating puhunan sa pag-unlad lahat ng pag-uwi ninyo. Hindi lang yung pera, kundi yung skills, yung experience at kaalaman na nakuha nyo in your many years working abroad. Malaki ang maitutulong ninyo mga kababayan natin sa iba't ibang bansa, lalo na sa financial at social remittances. Magagamit natin ito sa paglikha ng mga trabaho at pagpapaunlad ng ekonomiya sa ating mga kanayunan. I-harness natin ang maitutulong ng brain gain. Kaya siya brain gain kasi pagbalik nyo dito, marami kayong kaalaman na pwede nyong ituro din sa iba. Again, ito yung mga skills sa mga experiences na natutunan nyo while working abroad. Kailangan natin itong i-map out at i-akma natin sa development at government-sponsored projects para hindi masayang. Kasabay nito ang pagbuo ng multi-stakeholder committees para maging maayos ang coordination sa pagitan ng migration at development. Bukod pa dito, magagamit natin ang mga skills, ang mga systems, best practices na nadadala ninyo pabalik para mas mapabuti pa ang pamamahala sa Pilipinas. Karamihan sa mga programa naman natin, pinag-aaralan at nire-research natin yung mga best practices ng ibang mga bansa. Dumalo tayo sa napakarami ng webinars at briefings para pag-aralan halimbawa yung COVID response systems sa ibang bansa katulad ng South Korea. Makakatulong ang OFWs at yung overseas Filipinos para dalhin yung effective systems mula sa ibang bansa na pwedeng tularan dito sa Pilipinas. Pero ito lahat kasi yung common thread nitong lahat, yung planong ito, talagang isang pamahalaang tapat na kasing husay at sipag at tatag ninyo. Sa Office of the Vice President, lalo na ngayong panahon ng pandemya, naging malinaw sa amin na talagang government can be the most potent force for good. Siya talaga yung magiging vehicle na to bring about change, to do good. Hindi lang na lip service, pero yung pag sinabing to do good, yung ramdam, yung pagbabago na magbibigay ng security, hindi lang sa inyo, pero sa mga pamilyang babalikan at pamilyang iniwan. Marami namang handang tumulong, maraming handang gawin ang nararapat para umangat tayo bilang isang bayan. Yun din yung isang pinakamalaking lesson namin sa UBP, na pag may tiwala ang private sector sa inyo, maraming gusto mag-invest. Marami tayong yung private sector, sobrang handa silang tumulong sa lahat ng programa ng pamahalaan. Basta assured lang sila na yung tulong nila hindi napuputo waste. So yun. Again, masaya akong kasama ko kayo ngayong hapon. Masaya din ako, honored ako, privileged na kasama ko kayo sa laban na to. Alam natin lahat na from today, I think 80 days na lang. 80 days na lang yung natitira sa kampanyang ito, pero hindi tayo kailangan matakot. Yung mga experiences ko, yung mga nakakakilala sa akin dito on a very personal level, alam na yung mga pinagdaanan ko, lahat hindi naging madali. Pangatlong election ko na to, yung very first elections ko, sobrang hirap. Kasi kalaban ko, isa sa pinaka-powerful na political family sa amin. Pero nagtagumpay tayo. Noong 2016, ganun din. Yung laban ko, ako lang yung babae sa 6 na kandidato at ako lang yung baguhan. Pero nakaya natin. Ngayon, para sa akin, dapat mas maging mahirap pa din ngayon because wala tayo ng resources. Wala tayo ng machinery na meron sila. Pero marami na kasi meron ngayon na wala dati. Halimbawa, pag sinabi natin na kaya natin itong gawin, may resibo tayo kasi napakita na natin. Pag sinabi natin na aasikasuhin natin yung mahihirap, pag sinabi natin ayaw natin ng korupsyon, meron na tayong pruweba na yung karanasan natin in the past, nung binigyan tayo ng pagkakataon, pinakita natin kung paano natin ito pinapahalagahan. And siguro yung pinakamalaki, last na to, pinakamalaki na wala noon na nandito ngayon, talagang yung mga volunteers natin ngayon, grabe, sobrang invested. And I think most of you here with us this afternoon can personally attest na yung involvement nyo ngayon is so different from the past elections. Nakikita namin to on the ground. Yung mga volunteers ngayon, sila yung gumagastos, sila yung nag-iisip ng gagawin, hindi na naghihintay sa national campaign team. And I think ito yung pinaka-biggest resource natin na wala sa iba. Na kailangan natin ma-maximize para yung laban natin talagang maging truly a people's campaign. Kaya tiwala naman ako, walang kayang tumumbas sa pinagbigkis nating lakas. So kasama nyo, buong-buo ang loob ko na kaya nating ipanalo ang laban na to. Kaya muli, maraming salamat sa pagdalo. Maraming salamat sa pagpuyat, sa pakikinig, sa pagtataya. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.
Maraming salamat, Vice President Leni. May mga tanong po ang ating mga participants. We would like to call on the co-moderator to read out some questions for VP Leni. If you have a few minutes to spare for us.
Yes.
So, can we call on the co-moderator to read out the questions from our participants?
There were many questions. Most of them are concerns na gusto natin na maging proactive tayo to ensure na hindi magkakaroon ng dayaan during the election. Ano po ba ang ginagawa ng kampanya ngayon at ano yung pwede namin gawin bilang mga volunteers for the Kiko Leni campaign team?
Ngayon po, nag-start na tayo mag-organize down to the precinct level. Mahalaga yung organization down to the level kasi kung merong mga magiging dayaan, pwedeng doon magsimula. So ngayon, ang swerte po tayo ngayon kasi marami tayong volunteer lawyers. Marami tayong volunteer lawyers, and our volunteer lawyers have been doing regular trainings already sa ating yung mga volunteers natin sa precinct level, sila yung lalabas ng mga watchers. Pero siguro yung beyond that, yung simbahan nakikita namin na very proactive ngayon. Yung simbahan, nag-organize na din sila separately, parang parallel. Nag-organize sila through their laicos and through their parishes. And ang hinahanapan na lang natin ngayon, paano natin i-integrate yung efforts na ginagawa natin sa regular campaign, saka yung efforts na ginagawa ng simbahan. And when I say simbahan, actually hindi lang siya Catholic Church, although syempre pinakamalaki yung Catholic Church. Pero even yung ibang denominations are also integrating their efforts sa mga parallel operations ngayon. The last I heard from 2 weeks ago, we are already in 79 or 78 of 81 or 82 provinces. So parang hindi na lang tayo organized in 3 provinces. Pero nakapag-organize na tayo in many other places. And may pros and cons. Yung pro nito dahil mga volunteers hindi masyado magastos for us. Kasi kung hindi siya volunteers na mag-hire lang talaga tayo, wala tayong pera para sa ganito. Pero yung con din nito is hindi maraming local officials ang kasama natin. I mean, marami tayong local officials sa iba't ibang mga provinces. Pero marami kasi yung, because of the political climate, marami yung would choose to keep quiet. So hindi natin maaasahan yung machinery ng local. Na while vital siya, hindi naman siya indispensable. But when I say hindi naman siya indispensable, kasi nakita natin during the 2016 elections, na si President Duterte ay wala naman ng machinery na yon, pero nagtagumpay siya dahil din sa power of volunteerism. Yung political machinery ni President Duterte when he won was really powered by not by the usual conventional political structure, kasi hindi siya admin nun. So tayo, yun yung tinitingnan natin, but we're not leaving things to chance. We're still trying to organize in as many percents as possible. And yun, yung meron tayong separate na church operations. When I say separate church operations, we do not meddle with how the church is doing their own thing, but we have a separate team na sila yung kausap para yung integration ng both efforts ay maging seamless.
I have a question.
Okay, our next question, please.
VP Leni, it's Milton from Los Angeles.
Hi.
Hi. You know, we're cousins. I would just like to, yes, from Masbate. How is, clarify to us the way and how much the sending of money or financial contributions for your campaign from here, from the US. And it has been, we're giving a lot of mixed messages. So you can only send this much, you can only send that much, and not a whole lot. So what do you know about that whole debacle?
Alam mo, I will be very honest with you. I don't know a lot of details, but from what I know, the reason why we're quite careful about it is that we don't want to violate any of the COMELEC regulations. So there is I'll ask, I don't know who among the campaign team are here with us now, but I'll ask them to post on the chat box the official bank account where donations can be sent. But there's a whole lot of do's and don'ts. Number one is we're very careful not to receive donations from non-Filipinos. Meaning to say, you know, I've been at the receiving end already of a case in 2013 when a Phil-Am group donated to my campaign kitty, and of course I needed to report the donations, and then a case was filed against me that I was receiving campaign donations from non-Filipinos. So ano lang naman to, it's just a matter of making sure. It's just a matter. I think there is I'm not very familiar, pero I would like to think that before you donate, you would have to tick some boxes. Just say, you know, I am still a Filipino, or just to make sure that we do not violate any of those. But may I request if any of the campaign staff is here with me now to post the official bank account number. Kasi a lot of other groups are also doing fundraising. So I don't know which is the official one, but we should have one.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next question. May we call on Chito Quejano of coming in from West Coast in California. So California, Chito Quijano.
Yes. Sorry po. Wala po akong katanungan kundi ano lang panawagan sa ating mga kababayan at saka sa inyo po ay kami natutuwa at nakapag-unlock kayo ng oras para po sa amin na nasa overseas at mabuhay po tayo lahat at sana po ay tama po kayo na sinabi ninyo ay tunay pong marami po na mga sumusuporta po sa inyo at nakikita ko yung mga dating natutulog na or inactive ay ngayon ay muling naging aktibo. Yung mga kasamahan ko po sa kolehiyo na matagal ko nang hindi po nakita sa UP Manila ay ngayon ulit ay kami nagsasama-sama at nangangampanya at nag-oorganisa para po sa inyong kampanya at so marami pong salamat.
Eto nga nasa chat box nga naiiyak na raw sila sa tuwa.
Hindi, Chito, maraming salamat sa iyo. Totoo yan. Ako, I've been through so many elections. My husband ran for 6 times. Ako, 3rd elections ko na to. This is the first time we're seeing this kind of volunteerism. And I think nanggagaling yon sa realization na ang election na to is so different from the past ones. Na so much is at stake. Hindi na lang ito, kasi nung mga past elections kasi parang who is the better guy, di ba? Parang limited lang doon. Pero ngayon kasi what we represent, parang what the candidates represent now, klaro yung battle lines eh. Halimbawa ako, ang sinusulong kong klase ng governance sa politika ay ibang-iba naman sa sinusulong ni Mr. Marcos. So it's really not just deciding who is the better candidate, but what kind of path would you want our government to take in the next 6 years. So I think a lot of people are realizing that. So ano talaga, yung overseas Filipino workers, yung overseas Filipinos, parang first time din na sobrang organized. Dito sa atin, even if we don't have a lot of local politicians who are willing to make their support public, whenever we go to a particular, and this is lahat talaga, even in places na natalo ako noong 2016, pag pumupunta kami, parang the deluge of volunteers is just so overwhelming. So tama ka. Pero kami, Chito, yung magpapasalamat sa inyo. kami yung magpapasalamat sa inyo for being with us in this fight.
So we have questions pa sa live audience natin from New York. I think Ricky Riliera will be asking a question. He's from Philippine Daily Mirror. Ricky Riliera, are you in? Kung wala pa si Ricky Riliera, may we call on Professor Hana Zulueta, coming in from Tokyo, Japan. Professor Hana Zulueta?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you po.
So, Vice President Leni Robredo, it's nice to hear from you and your plans about the overseas Filipinos. And actually, I was actually thinking of a question, but you actually replied. I mean, you already addressed it a while ago.
Thank you, ma'am.
Especially po regarding how to harness the resources that we have abroad, especially for us overseas Filipinos, how we can contribute to your government when you win as president. So that's my question. And if you could also probably elaborate on that po. Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm talking from, I'm coming from the experience we've had in the last 6 years at the Office of the Vice President. Yung alam niyo naman po yung opisina namin talagang limited mandate, limited resources, but we wanted to do a lot of things. We wanted to transform very poor communities. Yung projects po namin nag-range from electrification of island communities na wala pang kuryente, putting up potable water systems, public health and public education. Nagpapagawa po kami ng mga dormitories in public high schools. So wala naman po kami mapapagkunan ng resources for that. And the biggest lesson really is, yung private sector is very willing to support. Ang private sector handang-handang gumastos ng pera para tulungan yung mga nangangailangan. Ang kailangan lang nila, merong platform for them to participate. That's number one. And number two, kailangan lang silang ma-assure na yung tulong nila ay napupunta sa kung saan siya dapat papuntahan. So we were able to survive in the last almost 6 years because of that. And dun po yung nakikita ko na ang laking opportunity hindi lang for overseas Filipinos, but for all Filipinos not involved with government, na ma-harness, ma-inspire sila to do their share, to contribute whatever they can to nation building. And paniniwala ko po, it is government that should provide for that platform. Kasi yung willingness nandyan, pero yung government should be inspiring para ganahan. Government should be trustworthy para may tumulong, and dapat strategic. Pag sinabing strategic, dapat na hindi ito yung parang patsi-patsi na programa. Dapat gagawan mo ng programa na groups such as overseas Filipinos can help. Kasi ako po talagang yung lesson ko, ang daming gustong tumulong. And kailangan lang talagang mapunta siya sa dapat. Halimbawa po kami sa opisina namin, we have a lot of partners na overseas Filipinos. Pero ang ginagawa namin, talagang we involve them every step of the way. In fact, halimbawa, pag mag-groundbreaking kami ng mga public dormitories, talaga nagre-request kami na may representative silang pumunta. Parang kami lang yung gumagawa ng groundwork. Pero yung partnership talaga is between yung community saka yung mga groups na tumutulong, because that inspires it. When you feel that you are actually part of something big, mas lalo ka pang ginaganahan tumulong. So I think para po sa akin, yung gobyerno dapat yung gumagawa ng paraan para mangyari yan.
Thank you very much.
VP Leni, your work has never gone unnoticed. We really admire every single step you have done, especially during this pandemic. You have been there just like our mothers. You have supported the nurses, the working force. You've supported the Filipinos 100%. And I think we admire your stamina and your strength. We wish you the best of luck and Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much po. Thank you everyone. Thank you for not just sharing with us your time, very precious time now, but nakakalakas po ng loob. Nakasama namin kayo sa laban na to. Kaya maraming salamat po. I wish we have more time, pero I'm being warned now that the next Zoom meeting is also waiting for me. So pasensya na po kayo, pero I hope to be able to spend time with you again.
Thank you.
Vice President Leni, thank you.
Salamat.
Thank you everyone.
Really miss you, but we'll see you again.
Yes po, we'll see you.
Salamat.
Take care everyone.
Take care.
Ingat po kayo.
Very nice. Thank you. This is very nice. Very nice. Whoever organized is very nice. Kudos. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Amen.
Let's have some wine.
All good things must come to an end. We wish
Nalasing na si Milton. Lasing.
Bunyog, magkaisa tayong lahat. Bunyog, party list na karapat-dapat ating itaguyod pagdating ng halalan. 145 sa balota ang ating botohan. Bunyog, bunyog, halikan na't sumama na. Bunyog, ito ang ating pag-asa. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, 145 ang sigaw. Baguhin ng Pilipinas ang bunyog, ang ihalal.